I think Frost is I think they're pretty good, but they're definitely beatable. I think that we're going to do really well against them and probably come up on top.
If I was not lazy, then I'd probably win every single game. But I'm really lazy. I'm a bad example. Don't copy me.
Welcome back to the third and final match of the day. I'm Rachel alongside Mr. DJ Wheat. Next up, we have what is going to be an incredible game. Maybe the most eagerly anticipated match of the tournament so far.
You might be able to say that. And I have a feeling based off of the crowd response, we'll find out. And I am sure our home fans agree that this is what they all have been waiting for. Team Solo Mid earned the most circuit points in the Season 2 championships, winning the last 6 events that they have competed in, and they have had a dominant victory at the North American Regionals, most recently at PAX Prime. Now, with the other 2 North American teams now been eliminated, they are the last hope for a North American champion. On the other hand, Azubu Frost already proven their dominance in Group A, and the Korean champions from the OGN League look to continue that trend in this quarterfinal matchup. Without further ado, let's bring out the teams.
Starting as the red team, please give it up for Azubu Frost!
Welcome back to the stage. On support, give it up for Mad Life!
As AD carry, it's Woong!
On AP carry, it's Rapid Star!
In the jungle, we have Cloud Templar!
And last but not least, in the top lane, give it up for Shy! And now, starting as the blue team, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Team Solo Mid! Ladies and gentlemen, at AP Mid, give it up for Reginald!
In the jungle, please salute the odd one!
In the top lane, you know him, you love him. Give it up for Dyrus!
On support,
and rounding out TSM, the AD carry, Chaos. This is the last match of day 2. Who will take it? Let's shoot it on over to the casters. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Rivington and Freak.
Thanks, guys. DJ Wheat and Rachel, a fantastic job on the stage, pumping up the crowd. Guys, this is truly going to be a highlight of the tournament. As we heard before, TSM with some of the most circuit points in the entire season, about 1,800. CLG was behind them at 1,200, and we just see Azubu Frost coming in as the first in their region to be just as strong, Freak.
And this tournament now, it is the last vestige of hope for 2 of these regions, the only North American team left. They're all draped in American and Canadian flags representing their home country. But you just saw Sword get knocked out 2-0. Yep. This is the last Korean team as well. And, oh man, these countries have got to be behind their players right now. You got the only guys from you know, the Western world, or not the Western world, but really from North America left. The only guys from Korea left. We're running out of teams really rapidly here. We're about to be down to 5.
and it's going to be huge, Freak. We got to sit down with TSM as well and find out what they had to say about this epic showdown.
We're Team Solo Mid. We're in California, and we're here for the Season 2 championships. I really honestly don't mind playing any team. I'm just very confident in our play, and I think that we'll beat any team that we'll play.
We have to like study our opponents.
We came up with some strategies, or took some strategies from other teams and evolved it.
And we use that to further evaluate our own strategies against them.
And it's going to be really fun to use.
This is like a once-in-a-lifetime thing, so we're going to make sure we use our chances and do everything we can to win.
It could be harder, but it just might not be.
That's true.
Someone has to go home first, so it's not going to be us. That's all that matters.
I'm not afraid of any team, so bring it on.
Absolute confidence, and you hear a little inside story on how TSM modifying their strats of ones that are already around to make them fit their chemistry a lot better. So let's take a look at the keys for TSM to this upcoming matchup. One, the modification of those strats. It's the surprise Frost.
Team Solo Mid is a group of players who have run the same gamut of strategies for a very, 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 very long time. They've not pulled out a lot of interesting things in quite a while. They've been very standard, and because they place well in so many tournaments, there are like mountains of footage of them playing those same strategies over and over and over and over and over again. And over again, in fact, at the end. But these guys have something special in store. I've talked to the players backstage. They're going to surprise Frost. They need to do that, because Frost, these Asian teams is what they do. They research their opponents and they know what's coming. So they've got to surprise them so they don't know what's coming.
A very solid player for TSM. The next key to victory is Dyrus against pretty much the MVP, or one of them, coming out for Frost. Dyrus must win that lane against Shy.
It's really going to be a major focus here. When you see most of these teams play, with few exceptions, they typically, the junglers, whatnot, will camp mid and bottom more likely, and that top lane becomes a big one-on-one. Now, we saw what carried Frost to their very first victory was Shy stepping up and being, incredibly powerful and, pulling out kill after kill on Jax. Well, that 1v1 lane, it needs to go Dyrus' way for Solo Mid to have a good chance here.
And TSM not showing too much aggression in the early game, but having a very good strategy of just defense if they do require it to take it into any part of the game where they're stronger. But they really need to focus on making big plays against the Zulu Frost here.
Team Solo Mid is a group of players who can pull out things from nowhere. When we saw, the quarterfinal match that we covered just a few minutes ago, when we had M5 Ben Q kind of pull out the mid-game lead when they were really kind of down against Invictus. They made some big plays, the Alex H triple kill in the mid lane, things like that. Those big plays will turn a game around and give a team a lead. Solo Mid are a group of players who consistently win tournaments. Whenever they're down, they still manage to pull it through in the end. They've got a best of 3 here to prove that they are great comeback kings if something should go wrong at the beginning. These are players who can absolutely pull a game around. They've got to make those big plays to do it.
So you have Team Solo Mid's keys to victory as well as a gigantic crowd behind them. So let's take a look at what Frost needs to do to keep themselves in this tournament. First off, with TSM being so in the dark within these past few weeks, constantly scrimming against Orbit, constantly going to other houses and scrimming, they need to know to adapt to TSM's new strategies.
They absolutely do have something in the dark there that they are going to be able to work with. Now, Frost are a great team, and they are a team that can adapt. When you go back to the OnGameNet Summer League Championships, where they started those first 2 games against Counterlogic Europe 0-2, and then came back to win 3 in a row, that's them adapting to new strategies. You look at Najin Sword, where they adapted back from when they played Counterlogic EU, and they lost 1-3 in a best of 5, but you saw them crushing in a group stage. These players and teams that can adapt to the opposition and come out with wins, that's what really carries a team through.
And the next strategy is to stop TSM's really mainstay early game aggression, to get into the jungle, set the jungler behind a few minutes, and allow the lanes to push. But Azubu Frost is the one that needs to push hard for that second key to victory.
When you go back in time, you look at the MLG Summer Arena, Azubu Blaze 5-0'd TSM on land with that trademark aggression, pushing down turrets, keeping it on. That was the old TSM playstyle, was accrue these incremental advantages. Pick up a kill here, pick up a kill there, roam around as a group, pick off champions, and start accruing sort of these leads. But the way these Korean teams have been playing is they play aggressively from minute one, and they start pushing down these turrets. And when you get a 2-on-1 lane, you kill a turret, and then you swap, and you kill the other turrets, and you keep that aggression going. Constant pushing is what had hurt TSM before. I think it'll work again.
And the next one, exactly, TSM getting that early lead, but it's going to have to be a Zubu Frost to capitalize on that early lead and hold TSM back.
This is really them, again, having to make a lot of early plays. When you reference the Blaze games, early leads happen here. Frost make a lot of good moves early on, and they're going to have to do that here and then snowball that forward. Any advantage they get, they've got to make that actually happen and just capitalize on picking up a few kills and keeping that game out of reach for TSM.
So, guys, early in the day, we did do the social call-out, and we asked you to send us your questions by tweeting to the hashtag LOLWorlds. So here are some of your questions that came in through that social media. At Paul Heller 69, who is the best mid laner of the tournament?
Well, we just saw phenomenal play from Toys.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Right now, Toys is looking sharp. No death. Just 2-0 Sword, and Sword looked ridiculous in group stage. That's where my money is right now.
Yeah, some of these things just absolutely going in the favor. Strong mid laners are a huge factor to these matchups. We're going to have another question coming up in just a few, but really to talk to that, a lot of the mid laners have been the focus of this tournament. Obviously, being one of those carry positions, it's somebody you can get behind. That shortest lane is very easy for the jungler to get back to as it's right in the middle of his jungle, and you see a lot of focus there. With the lane swaps, however, we've been seeing the top and the bottom, and we've also seen keys to victory come from those points. So with the mid laners being so strong, we also had Scar in that group coming in, just Rapid Star in that group as well. We just talked about Toys, and another question to come from the social media on Twitter. So we have Phil Marucci. In your opinion, how can TSM counter the Azubu aggression and avoid a repeat of the MLG Summer Arena?
So the first thing is, of course, look back at those games, realize what's going on here, and I think they need to shift their play style. They've got to kind of shy away from that looking for champion kills is the main source of income, and they've got to realize that strong defense or pushing another lane yourself. And this is really how North American teams used to approach that.
Yeah.
When you were winning your lane or you built a 2-on-1, all these teams ever did was zone the opponent out. Keep the minions pushed toward your turret, kind of freeze it there, go around behind them, zone out the opponent, deny experience and gold, and leave them there outside of range. These Korean teams are instead saying, okay, well, you're going to zone us. We're just going to kill the turret. He'll get 150 gold because we got a global turret kill. Maybe we'll put some aggression on Dragon, more global gold here. And TSM have to realize that their gameplay cannot just be about champion kills. They've got to prioritize their own turrets as bigger investments into the game and just kind of play like those are more important than they were before. I think they've got just as long as they made that decision and got themselves a little bit more intelligent, they're going to be fine.
All right, so it looks like we are in a champion select. Let's see what TSM on the blue has for Azubu Frost on the purple team.
Well, off the bat, it's a respect ban, 2 respect bans actually in a row, dropping out Rapid Star and dropping out Mad Life here that support Alistar so strong. Again, Frost have not lost a game all tournament. TSM, this is their very first showing as well. Zubu Frost actually dropping out a 1v2 option as well, picking out that Yorick. They really want Shy on more of a carry-type champion, so that top lane Yorick not going to be in that mix for him.
He's been very good on Jax. He had an amazing game on Singed as well, but Dyrus knowing that champion very well in his champion pool as well. We'll have to see what they come out with. It probably won't be that top pick for Shy, but again, a top pick is an all right pick to go with in the first. We're going to see mid coming out for Reginald right off the bat, so they're looking at global aggression right away.
So this really makes a lot of sense here. That last ban from Zubu Frost targeting Vladimir out and removing one of TSM's staple old school strategies, and they did learn about it, that double AP Vladimir plus Cannon, Vladimir plus almost anything. But Dyrus, right away picking up the champion here of Karthus, who is, actually I talked to Ocelot after those group stage games and why he was playing Karthus. And he said that Karthus is in his opinion, the best AP mage champion in the game right now, that he must be played if he's available. And TSM seeming to subscribe to that strategy, want to bring Karthus in there for a lot of damage overall. He's great late game, puts out a lot of damage. The Jace pickup here that they're looking at from Azubu Frost, he's phenomenal as well. He's so aggressive, can really shut down opponents in lane. And now, if Shy is going to be there on Jace, it'll be much harder for Dyrus to react to him and actually win that lane. This is now looking really good for Shy in the top lane.
That's a great pickup for them. Jace is one of the most played champions on Dyrus' roster right now, so he is going to be forced to play something, obviously, that he's comfortable with. But he's going to have that taken away. Lux being taken, and we see the safe Ezreal pick with that Sona poke going to be going down to the bottom lane.
This is a pretty standard bottom lane here from Solo Mid. The only way to really beat them right here is a crazy in-your-face aggressive lane. If you play anything long range at all, you'll tend to lose out, get poked a lot. Nunu, I don't even see. Nunu is a potential here, but they've got to really worry about what kind of bottom lane they run. There's going to be a lot of pressure put onto them by TSM unless they turn it around and go all in. Now that Lux pickup is nice for a Zubu Frost because it's actually an ambiguous. It's one of the very few champions that is ambiguous between mid and support. And now that could be picked as a counter pick to Reginald's Karthus, and honestly that bottom lane is now revealed as well, that Sona Ezreal combo, but at the same time, they're going to figure out where they want to put Lux and what they're going to do with that. They're looking at an aggressive gank-oriented jungler here on Maokai, who can clear the camps pretty well and then immediately show up to support the lanes. And honestly, if they wanted to, Maokai and Jace could tag team that top lane. We don't see a lot of aggression on the top lane normally, but it's absolutely available with these two champions here.
So a team of just displacement and crowd control right now coming from the purple team as Zubu Frost looks to grab Maokai and Blitzcrank.
This is I think the third time now we've seen this tournament of Blitzcrank being the counter pick to Sona. The reason this works is Blitzcrank is all in. He wants to just start a fight and just go for it all at once. And Sona is really better at laid-back sort of long-term engagements. She's not great in your face. Her base durability is very, very low. She's got no burst damage, no burst healing. She's all about doing a bunch of things over like 8 seconds. Blitzcrank does them over the course of 2.
Oh, man. That Dyrus pickup is going to be on Darius and Chaos, choosing Shyvana for the odd one in the jungle. It's going to give some speed to their roster. But really, what's the composition coming out from Team Solo Mid? It seems like a few of their champions that they were going to synergize with have been picked here.
It's actually really, really good overall. They've got a pretty strong front line of double bruiser. These guys can dive in and screw with the back line of a Zubu Frost. They've got a lot of lane dominance overall, choosing that Darius as a counterpick to Jace in the top lane, and they've got phenomenal late game scaling here from Karthus. Their overall lineup is quite strong. Now, as Zubu Frost picking up Misfortune, she is all about fighting, and this makes a lot of sense against Sona as well. Part of Misfortune's kit has grievous wounds on it. That's a debuff you put on an enemy, makes them take half effect from healing effects. Sona is a healer, so when Blitzcrank goes all in, Misfortune follows up. Sona's got really no recourse whatsoever to deal with that aggression. They're going to be fighting all the time. It'll be very difficult for KX Special to deal with that sort of situation. The rest of their lineup is very, very long range. They've got that Blitzcrank rocket grab. They've got Lux in general as a champion who's phenomenal, and of course Jace with that shock blast with gate combo. So both these teams very, very strong. They're playing for their own strategies, and I think we're ready to get this quarterfinal underway. Crowd, are you ready for this quarterfinal?
It is going to be a huge matchup and a gigantic smile on my face every time I hear the crowd. But once again, we want you to pierce those soundproof headphones of the players. Ladies and gentlemen, for Team Solo Mid to take Game 1 of the final matchup of the day, let me hear you for Team Solo Mid.
If you are pulling for the Korean crowd, if you want to see a Zubu Frost bring this one in 1-0, let me hear you for a Zubu Frost.
Back and forth in the crowd. There are people showing their true emotion for this, as it is very high emotions for the crowd and the players as we're almost into the game, Freak.
Yeah, this is going to be very, very close. These players really playing main strategies here, looking to be just very synergistic within themselves. You've got a lot of late game potential here from Team Solo Mid, but a lot of team fight presence as well, just in general. It's going to be awesome. Let's get into the game and figure out just what's going to happen here.
All right, as you saw in Champion Select, ladies and gentlemen, the blue team being Team Solo Mid, the red team, a Zubu Frost, as it looks like they make their way out of the base. A pretty heavy stack on champions going towards that top lane. They may just be going ahead to guard those entries into the jungle as usual. And it looks like quite a good split with players coming in from both teams here. They look to just really guard their jungle.
Yeah, overall, what kind of happens here is one or both teams will decide whether they want to invade or play defensively. You can kind of tell by the minimap, if they're going to invade, they're all going to be in kind of the same spot. They might put an early ward down to watch for counter-aggression, but then they're going to move around and mobilize and look for a buff to take and try to deny resources from the enemy jungler. Or if you're playing more defensively, you'll actually split up from the start and just watch key choke points and make sure that you're not getting invaded upon. Now, some teams will take that a step further, and they will actually realize the common sort of watch posts.
Yes.
The place that people will stand to look out. And we've seen, especially from champions like Anivia or Leona or Shen, where they'll be, okay, well, he's probably in this brush. We don't see him because he'd see us if he looked, but he's probably here. Okay, 3, 2, 1, blind skill shot. And if they land it, they turn it into first blood out of nowhere, and it's just anticipation on the side of one team. Now, from looking at the minimap, it does not look like the case just yet, as these teams actually have kind of split up. They're looking for the invasion, locations, and they're going to play a bit more defensively. The thing is, though, that the level 1 team from Zebu Frost is phenomenal. They've got Lux, they've got Misfortune, they've got Jason, they've got Blitzcrank, all of whom bring out a lot of potential in a level 1 fight. Now, that said, they could do that defensively as well. Having Maokai, he can sprout those saplings around the map and really having an easy time of playing defensively if they really wanted to. It just seems to me, though, like a Zebu Frost, they really have that level 1 team. I would not be surprised if they went for something in the end here.
Yeah, this is going to be big. And as you look at actually a Zebu Frost lineup here, they've really centered the crowd control with Maokai and Lux into the middle. So if this happens for top lane with Team Solo Mid, if they actually go all the way up to top, into the brush, and then to Tri-Bush, they may be seen, but they're going to head to that Golem brush. From there, they loop around the top side of red, so you can't be seen. Sometimes you can come to the wall or the Wraiths right after that, or you can go for the red. If they choose to do this, they may get as far as that Golem brush if Blitz and Jace just stay in that position.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. But the thing is, they still don't have Karthus quite with them right here.
Right.
I can't imagine them actually going for any kind of crazy invade. We actually have seen a lot of teams prepare a lot of different types of invasions. CLG North America, though they never actually got to roll it out there, they actually had this crazy 3-2 top lane jungle split where they warded off the Wraith, they came around through that upper Golem camp, then collapsed on red from behind, and the entire time were never seen by the opponents and actually got behind the opposition. And a lot of these teams will prepare these sorts of invades and really build out these really crazy opening strategies. We actually saw that from Invictus Gaming in the very first game of the tournament. They all ran into the Dragon Brush. Jarvan tossed a flag over. Corki Valkyrie became a ward. And these teams, especially as the game matures, they'll be, okay, we know our stable strategies. We know this. We know that. We know the other thing. Guys, let's practice level 1 invades. Let's just host up a game and just see what kind of things happen. And actually, Solo Mid, they even did that for the North American regional. They actually took, they took VODs of their first round opponent, MME Ferris, and they said, oh, okay, so when they have Maokai jungle, he saplings this brush at 45 seconds, so at 44, we're going to toss a Dark Binding and jump into this brush here and look for him. And they literally had planned out the strategies that way. They went through all the games, they found out where he went, when he tossed the saplings, because of cooldowns and mana concerns and durations. They would be pretty predictable timings, and they would really build out even to that meticulous of a level of saying, okay, with this specific champion, he'll go to this location at this time, thus we can level 1 fight here. And this is the kind of gameplay and the kind of planning you will see these teams as the game matures, as they become more knowledgeable, the kind of stuff that they'll go for. There's absolutely going to be just an elevation in the sorts of things coming out of these teams as the game matures.
So to loop everyone in with what the deal is right now, the players are ready and raring to go. A Little Sun has found its way through the canopy of the stage onto Chaos and special screen. They're kind of missing a bit of view on the chat with the sun glare there, so they're just getting that fixed up, and we'll be back into game soon. Zebu Frost very ready to continue this match as they're saying, we're ready? Are we ready to go? And Darvis is like, just a few more seconds. So they're going to get that fixed up. But yeah, these teams ready to go head-to-head. Our final matchup of the day is underway, and it looks like pretty just orthodox buys by both teams. Support's going for the Fairy Charm, looking for that early Philo so they can get the gold generation down fast. So we're not going to see any huge aggression from that Sona lane. We have seen some Sonas just grabbing boots or just all the wards and pots so they can continuously play aggressive in that lane.
It depends really what champion you pick. I'm a little bit surprised to not see boots potions on the Blitzcrank. That's one of the champions you'll see sometimes sacrifice a bit of early game power in order to do that. And so kind of the reason these builds are working here is you open up with boots and potions if you expect to go for some kind of early aggression or to escape from ganks. Like as a jungler, you could go, for example, like cloth armor and a bunch of health potions, and that would give you actually a safer jungle clear. You'd take less damage. You could sit in the jungle for longer. But that's not how these players are playing the jungle. They're going with boots of speed because they want to be able to react to invasions, start invasions of their own, or show up to a side lane and gank for a teammate and try to kill an opponent off if the situation presents itself. So even though they're sacrificing a little bit of jungle power to do so by opening with boots of speed, they're opening up a lot more options elsewhere on the map by doing this. Now, the mids, the solo lanes, things like that, the AD carries, they pick these up because positioning is so important in fights against the opposition. When they're coming at you trying to harass, your ability to dodge skill shots, your ability to get into range for your own, and to trade blows back and forth is very important, as well as your chances for escaping from enemy junglers and ganks and stuff like that. So movement speed really, really important across these players. Now, the one role in this game who's not doing that are these supports, because they're not going to be killing minions so much. They'll be a little bit farther behind and not really under aggression quite so much. And so they're opening with a Fairy Charm for some mana regeneration, allowing them to put out more abilities and cast more spells. And that's going to build up into a fairly quick Philosopher's Stone, which is a gold generation items these guys are going to buy in order to kind of keep their item economy going. Supports usually don't kill minions very much. They tend to be a bit poor throughout the game, spending a lot of money on wards, and those don't really transition. They're temporary. They just grant sight on the map, and so they tend to be pretty broke as the game goes on. And so the supports are relying on items to generate a lot of their gold and hopefully getting assists in team fights as well.
And we do see the odd one. If we just look at some of the summoner spells grabbed out here, the junglers are taking Flash to exhaust. The odd one, if to meet Maokai in the jungle, Cloud Templar there, really that fight would be won by Shyvana unless help came to Maokai, but that's going to be even worse for him. That summoner spell exhaust is really going to shut him down unless you can see Rapid Star come in to help him from that. But as we've been saying, there may not be any invasion. We're just going to see the aggression coming from Odd One there. So they are ready to invade, and he is ready to help his team with some probably really early aggression if they go for that red buff.
Okay, so unfortunately they're still getting some kind of canopies in there to block out the light on these monitors, outdoor stage and all that. A couple of small difficulties, but in order to fill time for you guys and keep you all entertained, we had a feature on Dyrus and his beloved cohort, The Pillow. So why don't you guys go check that out?
This pillow comes from a long line of history with pillows. Hello, my name is Mr. Pillow. I'm Dyrus' pillow. He abuses me. One day we had a team meeting in a Walmart-looking store, and they had pillows. It was $2. And then one day I was like, damn, I'm cold. And I'm like, I'm hungry. And then I found a Sharpie by the table, so I just took it and started drawing. I just started drawing like Dyrus and a happy face. Pillow follows me everywhere. The only where it doesn't follow me is probably the bathroom because I don't want to drop it in the toilet. The pillow is also like a comfort tool for me. For League of Legends during team fight, my mouth is just going at the start. I'm like shaking, it starts sweating, but with the pillow I feel more at comfort because I sleep with it. So I'm like, oh, this is so comfortable, and I'm winning. Oh my gosh, it's so fun. Someone made like a Dyrus' Pillow Twitter. It has like 2K followers, and there's like a Dyrus' Pillow Facebook. And there's some people that get annoyed at that because it's not professional, but you know, if it makes people laugh, then great. But I'm gonna keep using my pillow as long as I have it.
You know, quick fact, by the way, I actually have that pillow. Dyrus gave it to me after the North American Regionals, and then I started tweeting at him that I was holding it hostage. And then they all asked me where it was when they came to the tournament. I'm like, no, it's mine now. You gave it to me. It's a souvenir, like in my room. I have Dyrus' pillow. I feel very happy about that. He has a new one.
Yep.
But I have Dyrus' pillow.
He has to. Yeah. So some people tie their shoes, take them off, tie them again. Others wash their underwear 3 times. Dyrus has a pillow. And that's how he became a professional player.
That's what it took. Sometimes you just have those little, not gimmicks, right? But you've got those little good luck charms you have there. You know, your own little ritual. It's kind of nice. And it's comfortable, right? He's like, oh, you know, this is nice. It's comfortable. And I'm winning. It's awesome.
All right, guys, so it looks like we actually are going to get created into a new game here. So these teams are going to get themselves set back up. It's obviously going to be the same run-through for them, but they just want to get the momentum of the game back into normal. Both teams are kind of just sitting in the same spot, obviously not knowing where each other were, but their momentum is lost in the beginning of the game. So we're going to get that restarted here as we just discuss what's been happening in this tournament. Teams being dropped out over the weekend, now actually lower than 8 teams as we started at the beginning of this day, Freak. It's just been a grueling tournament. And although the games yesterday were a best of 1, you got to play multiple to vie for that spot. In the finals, today is a best of 3, and that's single elimination.
And it's just going to be brutal overall. We saw the first day, 4 teams getting eliminated throughout that group stage. You know, a lot of just pressured games going on there, and these players giving it their all and getting themselves through. For those teams, of course, joining those regional champions into the quarterfinals. And today, we've already seen 2 teams go home early. We're going to have another one determined in this near future. This best of 3 will determine who's going to be in the top 4 and who's going to be 5th through 8th and make it an early exit. It's going to be either the last remaining Korean team of Azubu Frost or the last remaining North American team of Team Solo Mid. Now, here, this tournament taking place in Los Angeles. The American crowd obviously behind the home team here. Sometimes you can hear that TSM chant in the background. It's a lot of favoritism, but hey, you know, I understand it, right? That home crowd advantage is nice sometimes. But still, Azubu Frost did not come here to... Yeah, okay, they said the TSM chant. Well, I referenced it. And, you know, anytime these guys get a chance to cheer for their favorite team, they tend to do so. You bring up a name, they cheer no matter what happens.
Yep.
Like we saw it when we were talking about like keys to the match. They would pan over to another player on the screen, and like we're talking about like, oh, you know, they're gonna have to do a really good job of picking good strategies. And then Dyrus shows up on camera and goes, "Oh my God, it's Dyrus!" And you know, I understand that you guys are favorite players. It's cool. I love the energy. Really, it's really nice to see you guys, get behind your favorite teams, your favorite players. It's a good atmosphere. You guys who are here in the audience are super awesome. In fact, people who are here, can you please give yourselves a round of applause for being awesome and making it here? Thank you.
Yeah, because they are.
They are. You guys are. You guys are amazing. You guys at home, we're missing you. I love that you're watching. Thank you so much for being a part of this. But we would love to have you here in person. It's always the more the merrier. It's such a great atmosphere to be here. People make signs. They bring their favorite team shirts. They bring out autographs, pictures, all things like that. It's a great atmosphere here at esports. If you're ever debating whether or not you should go to a professional event, the answer is yes, you should.
And guys, we got to give it up as well. The camera drivers in the studio truck, not missing first blood for us. Let's give it up for the drivers there. It's huge.
Yeah.
All the content being watched. These guys have been hours and hours on end. Everybody standing behind a camera out here right now. Everybody to set this event for you guys. Let's give them all a round of applause.
And actually, a special call out as well. So I'm actually playing today. They didn't make it out of groups, but Yellow Pete from CLG EU, his birthday is today. He turns 23. And everyone else who's here today, if it's your birthday, happy birthday, everybody.
Yellow Pete getting a little bit of happy birthday song earlier from the crowd off the stage right. And they're just really enjoying themselves. Everybody here, like-minded, enjoying. Timo hats all over. The hoodies being brought out, and the body paint is absolutely amazing. There's a Moo-Moo's walking around. There's Blitzcranks walking around, fully body painted, absolutely free. I saw a brand earlier that looked absolutely amazing.
Was he on fire?
Yeah, that hurts. And we had a ton of cosplayers that we saw at the North American Regionals. So many amazing ones, even our Sejuani.
Yeah, guys, now the wait is almost over. We're back in a champion select, some obvious bans coming through. I'm actually sad. TSM's actually banning, champions start with A. Normally they ban out, they'll spell a word or an acronym with their bans. Usually TSM or USA tend to be the options there. But they're just banning AAA. They're going to pick up their champions here. Dyrus grabbing his Darius back on. You can see Specials. Game Face is on. He's not even picking anything yet, and he's still, super focused.
Absolutely. It's the Gunners, man. He's just bam, game's going to happen. We see a Zubu Frost preparing there. Cloud Templar just hanging out, taking a sip. Must be delicious. And these guys just really utilizing their drinks for Champion Select.
Oh, it's really important. I mean, obviously, it's interesting. So I was talking with CLG NA back at IEM New York, and I was telling them, guys, you shouldn't, party right before major events. And Saint, he was on the roster at the time, was like, "Oh, are you serious?" I'm like, do you think it helps that you stayed out till 4 in the morning the night before? Come on, guys. You're playing professional sports here. Let's get it going.
What do you mean? We know how to play the game. It's the same tomorrow, right?
But all these players are becoming more and more professional, and they're realizing that, even nutrition and, working out and staying hydrated, these things actually all matter. And I'm very, very serious. Eating right literally makes you play better. I'll refuse to play ranked after 2 in the morning because I know I'm too tired to make good decision making. And so these guys, they're going to come in. They'll be well rested. It's like you're told in college that, staying up and studying all night for a final is worse than just going to sleep on time and just relying on your knowledge of the material, because, sleep and just being prepared mentally means more than that last 2 hours of practice. These guys, they need to come into tournaments already knowing what they need to do. They can't cram at the last second. They've got to do their homework a long time ago. And I'm not trying to make school puns, but they just keep coming out here. But, they want to be well rested and, drink water and eat food properly, and then, get ready to go and get into these matches with their A game ready.
I'm going to go ahead and give you an update. It's pretty hot out here. So, yeah, you're going to get dehydrated fast. These guys always having them drinks on stage. The crowd knows what I'm talking about. They're all guarding their eyes from the sun right now. It looks like we are getting into that champion select. It has just been closed out, guys. TSM on the blue team. Let's hear it for them one more time. If you want to see TSM take this game 1.
All right, if you guys are pulling for the Koreans, let me hear it for a Zubu Frost.
The crowd really filling up here at LA Live. Downtown Los Angeles is just beaming with League of Legends summoners right now all over the place. Like we said, Blitzcrank hoodies, Timo hoodies. There's a Rammus hat as well. The signs all over, the body paint as well. You can see it there. Everybody is so ready for this matchup, and we are now in game with the teams. The quick pause will hold that, and we just see all the signs and the enthusiasm from the crowd.
Yeah, I came out with Thunder 6. We put them all on the chairs. People who actually showed up early on the first few days got free Timo hats as well. You can see a lot of them in the crowd here, the Ramis hats here. And again, I've got to reiterate that if you guys aren't coming to events, you should really start. We've got that merch store there. We have Ramis hats, both regular and Ninja Ramis. Pretty sweet. You might have noticed us wearing Trinity Force hats. That sunlight actually affecting us as well, keeping our eyes a little safe.
Tons of sunlight blocked out by tons of damage.
Sunlight. Yes, indeed. And so, keeping our eyes safe and all that. But these games are about to get underway. There's a lot of pressure on these players, though, and actually, I got to say it will make those nerves rise a little bit more when you have that pause in that remake. They came in saying, guys, we know what we're going to do. Let's get it going. They've got that level 1 strategy planned out. And then you're amped up. The adrenaline's there. And okay, we're into the game. We're into the game. We're ready to go. Got my fingers on the keyboard. And you probably kind of talk like this, actually. You're kind of jumping around a little bit jittery like that. And then it's like, stop, pause, remake. Okay, go back through champion select.
Flow is broken.
Okay, you kind of take that breath to relax. Yep. Kind of chill out. Okay, so, no, we know what we're doing. It's okay. And actually, you end up having that first moment be a little bit better, where you're a little bit less, when you get that minute to pause at the start, anyone who kind of plays anything, professional sports or goes in for, music, anything like that, the very beginning, you're sitting there before it starts, you're sitting there a little bit nervous, okay, we're about to go on, we're about to go, I know what I'm doing, I'm ready, let's get this going. But you've got that quick pause where, you're just ready. And then once it starts, right, once you're good to go, it all washes away. And you know what you're doing. You're professionals. You play your game, your music, whatever, and you're fine.
Right.
But getting that little bit of time there to sort of collect yourself, let those nerves pass away, you start out calmly, and you tend to make, that very first decision is a little bit better.
So we'll see what they have to do. These teams getting ready, still discussing what they're doing. We've seen the strategies, and we've seen the comps that they may use for Azubu Frost. They've played for these last 2 days here, a few games over, or I guess day so far. This will be their second one as they come in. But TSM has been able to see that. They've been here since the beginning. Everybody's had time. There's 40 PCs set up in the ESPN zone upstairs as League of Legends has completely taken over. LA Live is just everywhere, and these teams are utilizing that to their advantage, hiding way upstairs, going over strats, going over the teams that have seen those strats and really trying to hide them, but still practicing them up to the last second.
And that's really what it takes here to be at this level of competition. As long as you still, allow yourself that time for rest and meals and proper preparation, you want to spend every other waking moment there and practicing and being ready. Yesterday, actually, TSM and Moscow 5 were practicing. After the group stage draws and they knew where the players were, they realized, okay, TSM and M5, they're on opposite sides of the bracket. They'll only meet in the grand finals if they both win.
Right.
So they sat down and said, okay, we'll practice with each other. We're going to going to hash out our strategies, make sure our early games are correct, and that our decision-making is strong. Well, little secret, TSM actually convincingly won those scrims. So if you just saw M5 do really well in the quarterfinals just a little bit ago, we know TSM's a slight underdog just because the Koreans have looked so strong over time. TSM are looking just directly on form right now, and that is really important when you fight such heavy favorites like Azubu Frost. Go for it, man.
The crowd just absolutely ready for this matchup. You can hear them yelling behind us. These guys poised and ready. Coming into this, they're the top teams from their regions. This is a year's worth of work that they've come here, and they could be going home. Either of these teams could see their final moments come down for League of Legends Season 2. Well, these teams are in for Season 3, but it really matters here. That first year wasn't taken by any of these teams. That was grabbed by Fnatic. So Season 2, as TSM had a chance at this, really want the Season 2 victory.
Yeah, they've been a top team for a while. They came to the Season 1 championships, and they performed pretty well. Right? They made it. They took one of the high seeds from North America. They showed up.
Right.
But they didn't really come very close to winning. And that's, kind of unfortunate, really. That, they wanted to do very well. And they're at about the same spot here. They took the top spot from North America. They're really strong. They're a good favorite. But they're at a very do-or-die moment right now. It's single elimination. They could drop and take 5th to 8th and kind of repeat that last year's performance where they didn't really take that many heads off the plate. You can see Dyrus resting up successfully. Again, a good night's sleep will make you prepared for that game. Dyrus proving my point right now.
Power nap.
Champions, head on keyboard.
Super power nap. He's envisioning everything that's going to happen in his head, just really getting that meditation up. Dyrus just meditates.
He's Master Yi.
All day.
He's Master Yi. He's pressing W.
And magic resist.
5-second channel.
Yeah.
Whole health back.
All of it.
Yep.
And a pillow for a little bit of damage mitigation.
Well, yeah, exactly. That's how it works out. And you get a lot of armor, magic resist. It's kind of a shield to help protect you there. It's pretty much summoner barrier. I don't know, something like that. He's looking pretty strong though. I mean, anyway, but TSM, right? Both these, and really Azubu Frost as well. Both these teams so incredibly strong. They're coming out here. They know the strategies they're going to run. They know they're all phenomenally skilled individually. You know, we've looked at some of these teams, and you know, one of the ones I kind of feel about is like Invictus Gaming, where they've got like that one all-star. I mean, everyone's really, really great. It's a super top caliber team, but it's sometimes got that one MVP that they really rely upon to make all the big moves and really, you know, rally around that one player to be great. We saw that a little bit with Invictus's kid. We saw that a little bit with Archie there on Saigon Jokers. But here I think we've got a team that's full of all-stars everywhere. Team Solo Mid, once they picked up Dyrus, I think they had really amazing lanes everywhere. You know, great jungler support, AD carry mid and top. Azubu Frost that same way. You know, when they first came into the game as a team, right? Joining up there, as MIG
Right.
Frost, their very first season playing as a professional team, everyone was like, dudes, wow, this roster, like just on paper, holy cow,
Yeah.
there's no way. And people thought Blaze was like this like joke team that was there for a practice partner. And Frost was like the big deal. And then Blaze showed up and 3-0'd Frost in the finals of the Spring League. And everyone was like, okay, so Blaze is really awesome.
just
Everyone
happened.
kind of jumped on Captain Jack for a while and was like, this guy is the holy savior of 80 carries. And then Frost, he said, we're making a comeback here. We're making this happen for ourselves. And again, every one of those players has really stepped up to the plate and been just phenomenal. Rapid Star, Shy, Woong now on 80 carry, Madlet keeping it up even without Loco Doco on the roster, Cloud Templar still just being awesome, making plays the whole way through. Both of these lineups are full of all-stars. Every single player is reliable. Every single player has given it their all and is showing that they are individually top class, just like the teams are phenomenal as well. Now, we had the game restarted once more. The champion select is now ticking down. We are so close to this game getting started. I promise, this time for real, we are so close to this game getting started as the seconds tick down. We're about a minute away from this game starting.
Don't troll me, freak. I am absolutely ready
That
for
was
this
hot, by the
matchup. Yeah, beautiful. You can see all the signs people are making. So let's just set up a scenario here. Let's say TSM just goes their mainstay. They try to push, they aggress, they deny 500 to 600 worth of gold, set the jungler back, and push the lanes hard. Seeing this comp from Azubu Frost, where do they come back on that? Or can they just counter that early aggression?
Azubu Frost has two really good sort of save me cards in their lineup. So number one is they're very, very poke heavy. Every single person on that lineup can hit someone 1,000 units away or more. Whether you've got the incredible poke from Shy on Jace, the rocket grab from Mad Life, and we just saw how strong Blitzcrank was. You saw a mistake from TPA, really turning fights around, pulling Mach Noon in 2 fights in a row, making those go really, really well. You can never count out a Blitzcrank. He's always going to be pulling out a lot of tricks there. So, again, with Blitz there, and the entire team really able to kind of collapse on one target very, very well. Azubu Frost can always pick someone out. They can weather the storm and poke from long range, or they can initiate a fight and kind of fight a 5-on-1 and pick a kill off from beginning. So they've got those two different plays to make, and it's really good at keeping themselves alive or turning the game around. So Frost has, again, they have a lot of those sort of save me situations. Now for Team Solo Mid, they've got, honestly, for the most part, it's just late game power. They've got champions who scale throughout this game. Ezreal, Karthus, and Darius, they're all going to have a really good time of it. Now, you can shut down a Darius in lane if you get a really good matchup. Your jungler comes in once or twice. Darius is all melee, and he's all about trading. So if you get ahead of him in gold, your top lane can keep snowballing ahead and shut him down. But if they don't, they've got just damage everywhere here on Team Solo Mid.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are almost into the matchup to start this game for you. We can see TSM quite strong and making very few mistakes in each tournament that they play. Hardly ever dropping a map, always going to the finals. A lot of first place victories since they have picked up Dyrus. And you can just see the eyes being covered there. That sun just escaping or making its way through some of the canopy as they fix things up. But TSM has just been able to continuously pull out that one solid strat. If anything falters, they don't try to recuperate and say, this is how we beat that. Let's go back to our defense. Moscow 5 does this a lot as well. They'll get the early aggression. If they don't like what happened, they don't say, we need to quickly just flip-flop everything we're doing and call an audible. They go back to defense, and they push their lanes as they always have. I've always seen Moscow 5 and TSM to have that if there was any trouble for them, and that's really a big powerhouse behind Moscow 5. But Azubu Frost mechanics in the fights could really just push those mistakes out of TSM more and more often. And we can see these fights going pretty bad for TSM if their mechanics aren't up to par right now. They haven't played any matches. They're cold coming into this. They've only had practice on the computers in situations where, they're practicing their situations rather than playing 110%. So we'll have to see with Azubu Frost hot on the plate right now if they can come out on top.
Yeah, what's really going on here is these are two teams that are really team fight centric. They're aggressive in general. They make a lot of plays. They'll invade. They'll try to get a lot of advantage early on. But that really comes down to they are a team fight centered champion. You look at Counter Logic Gaming North America, for example, and they're all about splitting things off. They're all about avoiding team fights, trying to push side lanes and make these really tricky situations. It's how they beat SK. It's how they took out and took third place in the North American Regional, was avoiding these sort of 5-on-5s and making really strategic situations. And you see teams kind of do that. Or you can be Counter Logic Gaming Europe, where all you want to do is team fight and you throw away every other phase of the game. These two teams are much more well-rounded. They have their healthy staple of early aggression and their late game powerhouse.
Yep.
With the example of Team Solo Mid, whenever they do throw that early game and it gets behind them, they don't rag on each other. They simply say, and the actual quote is, play for late game. And they all adapt and they change their strategy. They say, okay, look, we're going to stop going for kills in lane because we know they're ahead of us. Their jungler's outpacing the odd one. Let's chill out for a second and let's actually make that push. You can see here up on stage, they're actually putting up barriers. Again, that light issue. They're trying to get that sunlight blocked out. So these guys are good to go on this outdoor stage. We are, of course, close to going. You can see the issues getting fixed here up on screen. But, as these teams go through, Zebu Frost has that same potential. You saw their comeback victory in the first day, the very first game, where First Blood didn't go their way. The early fights didn't go their way. Baron was almost stolen out from under them, but they finally came back and made that fight happen. They went team fight, team fight, team fight. They made it go their way and said, yes, let's jump on this. Let's get the 5-on-5 going. Let's make sure this happens correctly. Both these teams really good at making that sort of situation happen, of stopping the bleeding, putting on a tourniquet, and grouping together as 5, and turning the game around and playing actually, for that team fight. And really that's how this game works, is you can build a 5,000 gold lead, and that's
right.
a lot of money until you're 45 minutes in. Then 5,000 gold doesn't mean so much. And if a team can keep that lead exactly where it is and just shift the game forward by 15 minutes, suddenly that lead is not nearly as scary. They're in a lot better shape as a team overall, and they can start turning those fights around. When gold leads get smaller and smaller, then you rely more and more on player skill and team strategy instead of so much it being about just who's got gold. But guys, the issues have been resolved. We are ready to go into the third quarter final. Let's get into the game, and let me hear you guys cheer for these two teams.
All right, and as we jump into game, we have Woong on the screen. We can see him going down to the bottom of the map by himself. It looks like he is going to try and just guard that tri-bush for anybody to come through and invade the blue. They also have, again, Lux and Maokai in that mid, but they are freak. They went around that top brush, and they are going to be just hanging out there. They see a shot coming through. Looks like Jace not choosing a skill yet. Yes, he actually did choose Q for this. Let's see what they do. Blitzcrank Jace up top. That still gives them a bit of crowd control in that position. Most of it in mid, though, with Cloud Templar and Rapid. And again, just Woong down bottom. And I like that with Woong. Obviously, Misfortune getting that passive movement speed. So if she sees anybody, she's out of there.
And I want to call attention to actually the Team Solomid's Wraith Brush. So they saw, Zebu Frost saw that TSM shoved that top lane, and a lot of people went up there. So Cloud Templar made the move into TSM's jungle and tossed a sapling down there at that brush by the Wraith camp, which allows them to see just what TSM is trying for. And now with that extra vision, plus that ward in the top river, now Zebu Frost feels a lot more comfortable, and they're actually making their own moves, aggressing a lot in this bottom lane. You can see Reginald leading the way as Karthus, using layways to check brush and make sure that the opponents are not waiting for them. So both these teams actually making their ways into the game, trying to look for something aggressive to do, and scouting out along the way, making sure they're not getting flanked as a result. You can see Zebu Frost just pinged the opposing Lizard camp. They're going to make an invade for this brush.
All right, so I was a little wrong here. They didn't go to the Golem Bush. They went straight for the Red Bush. And they are going to try and dodge that ward in that barren area, but they did not. A bottom take here, just on the other side of the wall. No cat and mouse to be played, though, unless Xpecial starts to pull up towards red. He's not going to find himself in trouble. No, he gets vision of them. They now know 3 are in the base. The pings start to go down. They say, can we close them in? You saw the ping behind Red go in. If Reginald can get himself down there, but he really does not want to mess with this. We can see him making no movements, and they're looking to just get some cheeky grabs over the wall. 3,000 gold to 3,000. Looks like the counter jungle was pretty much countered itself by the odd one, going for the Wraiths. and red.
Yeah, I think this is overall I think it went better overall for Team Solo Mid. They knew the opposing team had a much better invade lineup, and they had to do something to sort of pull that lead back and not really get destroyed in the invade. Now, the one sad thing, though, for Zubufrost is Cloud Templar's got Lizard instead of Golem, so his jungle speed's a little bit slower than he wants it to be, but ultimately the odd one, running around a Shyvana, she's always going to have a faster clear than Maokai anyway, so it's not really the end of the world to be a little bit slower than your opposition. Overall, he did save his smite. Cloud Templar's happy to use that now on this Golem and keep himself in the jungle.
So TSM, I believe the first one while running Shyvana or Shen in the jungle is going to be giving that to her. Usually you see it going to that top laner or mid laner very fast, but Odd1 keeps that for himself. The grab down bottom just missing. And it looks like Mad Life forced back until he gets that cooldown back up again. Jace against Darius up top. So Dyrus looking to go against one of his main champions in that pool. Should have this lane pretty well, but Shy staying in that long range ability form so he can get that poke out.
Yeah, they tried to gank that bottom lane a little while ago. You can see actually Darius right now. She's stuck in the brush. He knows he's against a long-range champion who can attack him every time he goes for a minion kill. So what Darius is doing is he's sitting in the brush and waiting out for the odd one to go for a gank here. He's also only leaving the brush to go for a last hit. He's going to keep playing passively, and he'd actually like to have Jace jump in on him. If I were, unless he kind of reads it, he could try to bait out Shy for a push.
Here we go. Shyvana coming from the backside. Flashed over. The exhaust goes down. But that's huge for that top lane. Shy now must play a bit more careful. Jace can get movement speed with that flash down. Wow, so much aggression coming from it. He knows the limits of what he has right now in that situation. Continues to do damage in Cloud Templar. Now looking for the counter gank. Knows that health is low. With the exhaust down, this now becomes his fight in the jungle. I believe that was just cleared. No, the odd one caught him on the backside of view, and he knows to go outside of the jungle.
Well, it doesn't matter too much anyway. Actually, Odd1 still lurking around that sapling, acting as a ward so that Cloud Templar is not aggressed on, and then puts another sapling down, really taking stock of what's in the jungle. Reginald clearing out that Wraith camp for the Odd1. He found out eventually that it did get invaded upon, seeing that Maokai had the red buff. They knew he went for that steal early on. So Reginald, taking his time out of mid lane to clear that out and ensure the Odd1 had a chance here. Mad Life still lurking in this bottom brush. This is the difficulty here. Xpecial, he's still got a ward, but he's playing confidently enough, saying, we don't need to ward out Blitzcrank. We know he can stand in a place where we're safe from that rocket grab, and that's pretty confident to say, they don't need the vision. They can still just survive those situations. And they're really refusing to take any damage in this bottom lane. You're seeing them split pretty equally, but here comes Cloud Templar in mid. No, Reginald still with the vision to know that he could be safe by just walking down. Still no Summoner's Burn. TSM are playing this one pretty accurately in all their lanes.
Cloud Templar just itching to get an initiation down there, realizing that Reginald still has his flash up, did not want to be caught under the turret that far. Blitzcrank moving around here, knows he put himself in kind of a sticky situation, but he returns to lane as he goes to ward. Looks like Mad Life is going to throw that over the bush if he decides to. Nope, just walking around actually, not really doing much for his lane right now. Leaving MF off in the distance, Woong forced to be back on this minion wave. We see the odd one coming in, a 2-2 top. Both tops and junglers now present in that area, but they return to their jungle. Usually this is when you see somebody else go in for that counter, but they both just figured to step out of it. The lane is quite pushed for Dyrus right now, and he is going to not have a ward for himself. He's got to be very careful of this play, just seeing Maokai up top.
And this is really a difficulty here for Team Solo Mid, is right now Zubufrost knows that they don't need to be afraid of the odd one. Shyvana does not have any natural crowd control until level 6, which is just a small knockback on Dragon form. So without exhaust, he really can't exert a lot of pressure, especially now once the Lizard buff is timed out. Shyvana doesn't contribute a lot to a gank overall.
No.
But here comes the push on a Dyrus.
Dyrus getting hit up to the skies, only does a little bit of damage. The Twisted Advance goes down, and the CC backwards as well. They're trying to keep Dyrus in. The ultimate from Rapid Star coming out, and this looks like Dyrus will go down for first blood. Not able to get out.
Guess you don't need to be cautious to hit people from across the lane. Nice move by Rapid Star. And that was team coordination saying, guys, we're ganking Dyrus. Rapid Star came up, just walked halfway up the river, and landed a really good final Spark ultimate there, just knocking a lot of health off of him. Really good opening. This is actually a great setup here. Shy is going to just pull that 1 kill ahead. That's all he needs to snowball ahead of Dyrus. They can ignore top lane the rest of this game, and Shy will keep building an advantage here.
Rapid Star getting an assist there, but doesn't have that much more gold off it than Reginald. He's only about 100 more gold in the lead. A pull down bottom lane. It looks like they're going to be quite aggressive here onto Xpecial. The Ignite goes down. No, the Grievous Wounds onto Xpecial rather, and they will force this one. Mad Life just on the backside. Can he get a power fist in? There it is. They could be going for Xpecial. The second kill comes in. Requiem takes down Woong, and here comes the odd one. The General to set up a kill for Chaos, and he actually takes it for himself.
Nice move there by Solo Mid. Cloud Templar coming down. It should be safe overall. And that was a really, really nice move. And I think a bit of over-aggression. And I got to hand it, though. Xpecial played that situation so very well. Now, the pull kind of sucked. I don't think he expected to bait a fight that hard. But once they finally came in, he waited. He waited until Misfortune overcommitted. As soon as she did that, power core to the face, exhaust, and then said, okay, go for it, Chaox. And Chaox spent all of his time just focusing down and making sure Woong just took fatal damage there. As soon as they saw Woong was low enough to die to Requiem, he immediately switched. He let Woong sit there with Requiem on his face and said, yep, you will die. I'm just going to go ahead and start focusing down on a Mad Life's Blitzcrank. That was these players knowing their own limits so very well, knowing the damage of Requiem, and knowing that Xpecial could force MF to overcommit and just turn that around for a kill.
Cloud Templar playing the odd one at his own game of super counter jungling. They have the red timer and they steal it once again just about a minute after it came up. So they're really on that 10,000 gold to 10,500 gold and neck and neck at 2-2 here at 8 minutes and 30 seconds. A lot of summoner spells are up. Dyrus's flash is down, so he's playing quite passive in his lane right now. We do see the support Blitzcrank being a little bit aggressive down bottom. He's got to be careful. Flash and Ignite are down as well. So we are seeing that Chaox and Xpecial could really have the upper hand in this next fight. However, Xpecial with Crescendo is also missing Exhaust and Flash.
Yeah, right now the fighting potential is so much stronger here from Ezreal. Having that phase really allows them to bully the opposing lane. If Blitzcrank ever overcommits and they get a phage proc on him and slow him down, there is no recourse without a Zebu Frost lane. They don't have a lot of defensive tools. The slow from Misfortune's not very powerful. Blitzcrank's only crowd control is in melee range, and no one from TSM, except for the odd one or maybe Dyrus, is really going to walk into that range there. So there's really no defensive tools here for Mad Life.
Apprehended, and the Dragon Descent goes down. The Flash once again, and the Exhaust forced onto Shy. The bleed is there. Is Requiem up? No, it is not. Shy will stay alive, but with a sliver.
And now he feels safe once more. The crowd controls have been burned. There's no flash on Dyrus, no ignite, nothing there for the odd one either. And even though he has almost no health left, he knows he can stay in lane as long as he dodges that hook.
Bottom lane is getting aggressed down here. The Power Fist again, once onto Sona. Chaox left to do damage, but it's going to be a 3v1. Cloud Templar there, and they just missed the long-range grab on Chaox and the laser from Lux.
And at the same time, though, Shy picked up that kill on the top lane. Zebu Frost, aggression everywhere, really picking things up.
So this is what you need to do, just really play with the mentality. They saw that their jungler was bottom. We saw Odd One up top, even though he was a little bit behind. Shy still very aware of the limitations, was able to get a kill in a 2v1, and looks like Dragon will come out of this at 10 minutes into the game for Zebu Frost.
There you go. That's what happens when you pick up kills like that. You take map control, and you convert that into some kind of major advantage. Pretty soon you'll see turret pressure as well being the name of the game, but with no 2-on-1 lanes here, none of the lane swaps happening, there's not any easy turret kills overall. Neither of these teams really picked heavy pushing champions, Misfortune and Ezreal both. They've got to rely kind of on their ultimates to shove minion waves down. It's not like Graves or Sivir where you can kind of shove passively just by spending a bit of mana and just kind of relying on basic abilities here. So you're not seeing a lot of uber turret aggression because none of the champions are really set up for it just yet. But pretty soon, I think we're kind of at the stage now, people have enough items that the next major champion kill or team fight will turn into a turret.
Clearing the mid lane here. Lux just trying to push with that laser. The cooldown for that final spark is now 60 seconds, very short there. We're going to see if they can capitalize on more kills. Right now, Rapidstar really using that to get himself an assist and clear his lane, continuing to farm. It's 101 to 105 for those mid lane carries as they come into their minion kills. Catalyst the Protector going out for Reginald to keep himself sustained, and the Chalice for Rapidstar along with that blue buff. I believe Reginald also wearing his blue buff is looking to lose that in just a few seconds. Still, so many wards coming out for Zebu Frost to keep control of this map. It is 4-2. They're dictating some of this with a 2,000 gold lead. They did get Dragon, so they have the timer on that, and we'll have to see. I believe in just a few minutes that red buff will come back up, and Cloud Templar has that timer.
Yeah, it should be the next, I think, roughly 30 seconds or so, in about under a minute for sure. And now you're going to see how these lanes are shaping up here. So with those kills happening in the bottom lane, it's a little bit tougher here for Chaox, but they're still not that far behind in items that they can't win a battle, especially with the odd one lurking around. Now having an Oracle's Elixir is able to sweep out wards and keep the opposing team blind. You see, just by showing up like that, they forced Zebu Frost to play passively. Misfortune not able to last hit successfully because she doesn't know if odd one's waiting around in the wings. Blitzcrank ran around the back and dropped a ward in the river to watch one of the invasion paths, but they still have no idea if Odd One might be lane sneaking or walking in from Tribrush. They don't have that vision anymore. In fact, Odd One back into that bottom river, just kind of bought some time between ward kills. He's going to wait for a bait here. They might try to pull Wound and Mad Life in.
He keeps below that turret. Jay's pushing hard in up top, but we're now focused. The Odd One actually putting himself just under the fog of war of that ward. I don't think they saw him. He is going to be, however, be seen by that right there without the Oracle seeing it.
Oh, wow. He actually just walked a little bit too far north. He would have really liked to sweep that ward out. It just went down. So a lot of vision being given. That's going to let Shy play aggressively, knowing no one's there to help.
Dyrus with a turret that is very low. We see Maokai moving down towards mid. They're trying to counter onto this. That is Cloud Templar trying for the counter gank here, knowing that he was going to be there from the ward. Very good play. They both actually stalemate off of that and head back to their jungle. Cloud Templar is still looking, however, for the Odd One here. Going to try to clear out this ward, getting caught by the Wall of Pain, but he has the crowd control to get out from Rapistar and himself, actually. Nothing goes down there, but you can see these players reading each other like books.
Go for the pressure.
Lane.
Wow, Dyrus, so much burst. This is going to be the Ignite kill.
Yep.
Yes, it is.
Very nice play there, coming out Shy. Once again, playing to that top caliber level. Just pushing Dyrus out of lane. Hasn't even really needed that much help from Cloud Templar to do it either.
Yeah, that was the only kill he needed. He needed that one gank from Cloud Templar. That was enough to snowball ahead. That's how Darius lanes work. Is if someone gets ahead a little bit, it's probably going to stay that way as long as it was a neutral match from the start. That kill does translate into a turret here. Shy had been pushing it down the entire time, knowing that Darius did not have the tools to stop the push or punish him for it. He had that ward down the entire time, and he's going to find Reginald in the jungle.
Shy looking so hurt here. He does take a hit. Reginald is moving away. Requiem is up. He goes for the cast. We're going to watch Shy, and he's still alive. 60 HP on the life. And they're now focusing on that blue. They know they pushed Reginald out. They have the complete force there. And it looks like a laser just being fired off to stop him from backing if they could do it blindly and cost them more time on the lane.
And it's going to be a blue steal overall, though. The Oracle's Elixir ensuring that no one was around and no one could see that it was, able to get stolen. It's not like it's, Lux on the other side. Lux is probably going to pull out some kind of miraculous steal at some point this game, as long as they have the vision for it. That final spark really coming in handy as these fights move across the map. So now Zebu Frost is in a place with 4,000 gold. All of their lanes, I wouldn't say their bottom lane is winning, even though they got that gank earlier coming in from the jungle. But I think they're doing better in mid, and they're doing better up top. And their jungler, actually about equal standing. So really all their advantage is going to be on Shy right now. So if I'm a Zebu Frost, I realize that Shy is the main player. We want to kind of keep that top lane as it is for a Mad Life with a nice rocket grab there, fixing that minion. But right now, it's relying on Shy. He's the big force here. Everyone else is holding their own. And they've got to realize that in a team fight, that if Shy goes down, they've got no tools left. They have to make sure that he plays successfully in these fights, and they don't get overconfident with their 3-kill lead, because they're all in one source here.
So we do see the Unholy Grail being picked up, the Rod of Ages onto Reginald. That has ticked quite a bit now, 54 health and 60 mana gained from that with 6 ability power. We'll see what they can do to return themselves from lane. We do see Jace now in middle. That top turret has been destroyed, so Zebu Frost enjoying their roam. We saw this against Invictus, that they had 5-man roams going on before even all the turrets were down. But right now they have Jace to roam out, and it looks like he's not really going for too much of a tanky build, but a lot more damage, as it appears to be a Bloodthirster next.
Well, that's going to be really them just going for damage output. And this is the build we really saw from Misfortune as well, is she's really relying actually more on that ultimate for the damage and not as much the basic attacks overall. So, the Bloodthirster is the most efficient way to stack just bonus attack damage of any item in the game. So she's trying to build that up and really rely on just scaling that bullet time and relying on sort of a team fight effort. They've got Maokai, they've got Lux, they've got a lot of team fight potential, a lot of area of effect. They're going to really have that kind of thing running. Team Solomid realizing with players off the map, they've got to prioritize turret kills as major sources of gold. They've still not got the map control to challenge Dragon. They've still not got the map control to force ganks or fights easily. But anytime Frost is off the map, and hidden away, they're going to go for something on the other corner. And I don't know if I like Frost really trading turrets for dragons, because they do have total map control. They do have the ability to force any kind of situation they want. And instead they're saying, you know what, yeah, we'll trade objectives with you.
We're still seeing a bottom, as looks like Chaos and Nick Special now. This would be perfect if they could keep them from backing, putting on just enough pressure for Darius and Shyvana up top to take down those towers. It looks like they're backing as well, though. And Chaos is just going to go back to farming down. We see actually top lane has backed, and Zebu Frost is going to use this to their advantage, taking out the jungle to themselves, making sure that they have full control aggressively, and they keep X Special and Chaos at their turret. The pings are going down. believe those are coming from Team Solo Mid. And it looks like Maokai and Blitzcrank will enter the jungle. I don't know what, but Azubu Frost feels more comfortable in TSM's jungle than their own.
They know they're ahead. They know that they've got Jace around, and Jace is the big playmaker here. There's no one really on Solo Mid's roster to stop him. You don't have a lot of items overall on the other side here, so nothing is around to keep Shy down and keep Shy from killing everything in sight. So as long as he's nearby, Azubu Frost will be completely confident. There's the light finding the pull on Reginald. All that burst. Reggie, may he get out? He does. He's going to survive that one just barely. And imagine if Shy were there, he would have gotten completely dropped out.
A quick step to the left saves Reginald from taking down by Final Spark, but it looks like this turret will drop. They have prepped it quite well throughout the gameplay so far. 18 minutes in, a third turret will fall for Team Solo Mid. 5-2, and they are down 6,000 gold. The biggest deficit at this time in any game this tournament.
And this is Frost saying, hey, we want that burst damage there. We want to go for the pressure in a mid-game fight. Jace and Misfortune now both completing Bloodthirsters, really scaling up their ability damage and saying, you know, when a fight starts, we're going to do a lot of damage all in the next 3 seconds together. And that's when you get someone like Lux, someone like Misfortune, Jace, etc. They are all burst damage. They're all forced on dealing damage to one or a few targets right away. That's going to keep being the case. Those targets will take a lot of damage in fights.
Dyrus gets the power fist, or rather the rocket grab to go right through the cape there, just making it out. Beautiful ward placement coming from Azubu Frost. And like I said, it's completely aggressive. They want to get every single kill that they can, and they want to do it one by one. Like I said, Team Solo Mid does not make very many mistakes in team fights. We have not seen that full fight yet, and it may be huge for them. They have good area of effect coming into the fight. We'll have to see if they can utilize Reginald all the way through. He's not afraid to play that zombie Karthus and will initiate fight with Requiem as well if he has to.
And this is going to be a scary situation, though, because really zombie Karthus without a lot of ability power won't matter very much. The thing to realize is Rapid Star has low cooldowns and a lot of ability power. His shield is going to help his teammates for 160 health on each way through. If he can land that perfectly, Rapid Star on Lux, that shield's going to be brutal. It's 80 plus 80 each way through. And Karthus, without yet a death cap, isn't really putting out that much damage. He can pretty much full shield Requiem if they have magic resist. When you consider that Cloud Templar is there with his ultimate, that Vengeful Maelstrom lowering damage that teammates take by 20%, there's no way Reginald kills anything right now.
Here comes a true shot barrage. There's a shield onto Reginald going into the middle of the fight. As I said before, the Dragon Descent taking down Shy. That money goes to Reginald and it is very much needed. The rest of the fight, like I said, initiated with Requiem. Here comes bullet time. Oh, Misfortune flashing the upper hand. Beautiful job by Woong. The fast fingers almost keeping him alive. But the Phage and Red Proc. A grab. Woong could get out alive, but he's still faced in the pinch right now. Too much in the pickle. They get their crescendo to finalize it. Oh, beautiful laser from Rapid Star. 6-4 to end off the fight. And TSM says that's enough for now.
And I am Kirsten Calls. 5 seconds after saying Reginald won't kill anything, he kills off Shy. I am good at this game. But, and you know, that's what happens when Shy gets caught out. That team does have crowd control. That team can lock up somebody and make him regret life a little bit. That's exactly what happened to Shy. He was a bit overcommitted. He got found out there, and they just burned Exhaust and Wall of Pain and chase. He did fall down there. And again, without Shy, there's not a lot of team fight here for Azubu Frost. Again, you see that gold lead 6,000, actually really more like 5,500. That, wow, I can't do math. 4,000, 5,500, whatever. Anyway, continuing on, you know, that gold lead is there, but again, it's mostly on that one source. He's got a lot of minions and most of the kills on the team. He is the rich one, and you know, without Shy there, they don't have that same kind of team fight. That replay comes on there. You're going to see as they jump in, trying to pick off there, and it's a lot of damage onto Woong. The pull's going to keep him safe a little bit. And you're going to see him go for the duel. A lot of damage being out the Chaos, but the exhaust is much. And then you realize he's one hit from dead, must pull out the crescendo. And then that laser at the last second, Rapid Star continuing to pad his pockets with gold, picks up the trade.
Yeah, he double stepped there a little bit. Chaos actually walked right back into the laser, but now back alive, getting hit with that light binding. The harassment so strong from Lux. Very nice. Getting the damage out, free for the trade. That laser is once again up. That just took down Chaos, so he has to be very careful. And with the double buff coming out, Rapid Star picking those up in that last fight is just able to throw out his spells, continuously shield his team, and be such a factor for a fight engagement. Lux's range is absolutely amazing. You can see her just trying to throw out damage from every angle as Blitzcrank would throw out the fist. Mad Life actually could go to one of these sides here and try to initiate a fight by pulling through the forest. And it looks like they take down that second turret. Only one turret has been dropped by Azubu Frost. Usually we'll see TSM holding their turrets for the longest portion of the game. 22 minutes in, we're now looking for an inhibitor turret, Freak.
And they're going to keep trying this. They want to play aggressively. They've got, like I said, that poke-oriented team. They've got a lot of long-range engagements. And normally I'd say that's not too harsh for TSM because, hey, they've got Sona. Xpecial's going to be able to heal some people. But she's only got that rank 3 of the heal. She's not putting out that much health per second. And they're constantly putting damage output over and over. Dyrus now down to half health. Look at that. Fight hasn't even started, and they're still very, very low, hard to engage.
Here we go, coming out. They do land the wall of pain. They're forcing some flashes here, but they got to be careful about the reinitiation. Good dodge on bullet time. Here it comes. Chaos is out of the fight. The crescendo goes down. The dunk on to Jace. Dyrus coming up huge, and Woong forced a turn. He knows he's going down. Reginald pulled in. You do not want to pull a Karthus. Another dunk and double kill for Dyrus.
Wow, that team. Zebu Frost getting just slightly overconfident and getting caught out. TSM's team fight presence is so good. They're down in gold. They've got a lot of scary situations. They're low on health. They say, no, guys, here's a champion who is killable. Everyone go right now. You saw them dive in unison to pick these up. This is really Team Solamid knowing exactly how to play as a team. And that is what it takes to play this level of competition. You're down in gold. Things get scary, your health is getting low. As long as you make decisions correctly as a group of players and you play in unison, you will pull things back around. Dyrus had such a horrible early on, but he's now coming back into his own. Let's check out a replay of that last fight. You can see the poke coming in. There's the haste coming back out. It looks like they're safe. They enter in back onto Chaos. Shy wants it, but now he's completely overextended. Crescendo into pull, and the burst damage everywhere just completely dropping onto him. His team was not ready to re-engage there. Woong, the same place, just gets caught by the wall of pain. The slow is too much for him, and he cannot get away safely. His team, again, not ready to re-engage.
So we will see a Dragon at 30-10. As we just had a Zebu Frost take that once again. Last time we saw them take it, it was quite a hard top lane push by the odd one and Dyrus. Right now, they're finally controlling their own red. I think as the third one, they will be taking this, or the fourth one rather. So back into their jungle. Cloud Templar now with more things to focus on as the fight initiations are really starting to come into play here. 6-6 as TSM has evened it up. Team fight presence, like you said, Freak, just so strong. The ability for Reginald to run in and Dyrus as well to just wreak havoc on the fight. Chaos in and out really blew some cooldowns for Shy there, and he got himself caught out. If they can do that over and over, this is where TSM stops making their mistakes. The less mistakes, the more you win. At 25 minutes into the game, they're only down 7,000, just about 6,000 gold as they're cresting that 30,000 mark. But they are still down 3 turrets, and that's a lot of map control.
It's really difficult overall. Exactly. There's a lot of room for Zebu Frost to move around and create a lot of sticky situations. Now, yeah, this is the point where Team Solamid does not want to make any mistakes and get caught out. But Frost's lineup is all about creating those mistakes out of nothing, of making a champion out of position, just because they kind of will them to be that way. Madlet, he lands a rocket grab. I mean, you've got to be so far away from enemy teams to make sure you don't get rocket grabbed. It's very, very difficult. The same thing here for Rapid Star. He can put a slow on you from thousands of range away. He can root you from that same distance. You can get caught out by seemingly nothing at any time from this Frost lineup, and you can just see their confidence in their abilities. They're going to go back for the front door. They don't even care about side turrets. They don't care about Baron. They don't want to bait anything. They're just going to go for the pressure here with their long-range team. This mid-game push makes a lot of sense. This Frost lineup, it is a mid-game push team. If you go into them, well, guess what? They've got the acceleration gate from Shy, from Jace. They've got the vengeful Maelstrom here from Maokai. How do you team fight a Zebu Frost when they want to be team fought? How do you stop that push when they just want to be together as a group and they're just going to keep poking at you?
All this damage from so far away, and they haven't even really seen much of TSM other than ward coverage. Zebu Frost moving out here. Looks like they will start to mill back towards down the bottom of the map. That Baron objective to be grabbed. 3 wards are on that position for TSM Freak, and I think they know that the capitalizing point of this match is going to come from that Baron dance. Looks like the odd one with an Oracle's back on himself. Agents of the Legion being purchased by Mad Life if they get some more core items under their belt to synergize with the team. Shy trying to get himself some mitigation on damage now as he did go for the Bloodthirster into the Hex Drinker. Good movement from Maokai, assisting the team with that speed steroid from Shirelia's, as well as his Boots of Mobility. Boots of Mobility actually on Maokai and Blitzcrank. So they're going to be looking to grab somebody who's really trailing behind on any of these fight reinitiations. We've seen it a lot. Mad Life has had great pulls this game, but Dyrus as well. The apprehends, forcing flashes, and coming out strong. He is one of the tankier ones on that team, and we see Dyrus also going for some of that split push build slash I'm going to be in the fight and take down your team by myself build.
So Azubu Frost, again, their lineup is about really forcing these engagements. The boots mobility you mentioned a little while ago, that plays, it makes a lot of sense there. They want to just get enough in a position that they can kind of capitalize. Shirelia's Reverie is going to need to be built up pretty soon. They don't have one yet. I'm surprised at that, but they would like to have one soon. A lot of burst. Look at that. The long-range poke tossing out a bunch of ultimates because, yeah, if they can bring KX down to low health, why not just do that and set up really good situations? You can see they've taken out a turret as a result of this. They're like 1,500 range area of effect spells just forced Team Solo Mid to evacuate their own turrets. And yeah, okay, Frost has a 7,000 gold lead. Of course, that's a significant margin to be ahead, but they're just able to force Solo Mid away from their own base because they can just hit them from so far away over and over and drop their health bars down.
Also continuously just keeping that vision anywhere they need to. They have vision of the entire team, so they know they're not being flanked, and they can just sit here all day long. You can see just how many wards they have in the jungle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3 in that bottom and 2 in the top jungle. They're not even in right now. So they're just waiting to take more experience, deny those buffs, and deny the leveling from Team Solo Mid. Right now, some of these champions are still pretty early in the game. We have Xpecial at level 11, level 16s for Rapid Star, and he gets grabbed in. Said before, those apprehends paying dividends.
And Reginald, and that was really what TSM needed, is they needed to find some way to open a fight and finally initiate. There's so much crowd control and so many engagement windows for Azubu Frost. Solo Mid had to find one. The thing is, their only initiator here that had any reliable long-range initiation was actually Wall of Pain. So Reginald went for a flash Wall of Pain and relied on his team to follow through. Well, it turns out they did. Dyrus got in range for the Apprehend, actually flashed to land an Apprehend just to pick up that kill on a Rapid Star. And now it's going to be interesting. It's a base trade versus a Baron attempt. Solo Mid knows they were able to do this. KX actually going to recall back right now.
He got bumped up by Baron. KX will not be able to back. They do grab Baron, but they're going to lose an inhibitor for this. This is going to be huge map control for Azubu Frost, and they're going to be able to walk out of that bottom lane, but they're going to take the inhibitor before that. They know they have 8 seconds at least, plus another 3 for them to get to that inhibitor, unless they come down, which is even longer for walking. A beautiful job there. Maokai getting taken down. He executes himself, seeing the Requiem come in. I think he kind of stopped so he would go down, not getting a kill. We see the odd one coming in. They may have spent too long. Woong will go down here, not really even pushing on Reginald that much. And the chase is on now for Mad Life. Overdrive going to come back up in 4 seconds, and the chase is stopped as they realize their base is going to start getting hit hard.
This was overall, I think, really good. I'm not even sure, actually. I would have normally said in a normal game, it's better for Team Solo Mid. They got a bunch of golden experience for Baron buff. They picked up a kill. The execute on Cloud Templar doesn't matter, of course. No one in range for XP. No one getting the gold for that. He does lose the Oracles, which does hurt, but overall still, Team Solo Mid, they got a bunch of gold, they got some extra experience overall, but the difficulty, though, is they've lost an inhibitor, and this actually plays exactly into Azubu Frost's playstyle. They want to play that long-range poke, those long-term engagements. They want to keep TSM kind of at the back and on their toes. And this lineup's going to make it very difficult.
Coming in from the backside, Reginald on the left. A huge amount of damage coming from Rapid Star, but he falls. Reginald is forced out of this fight. The Requiem is down. He cannot help his team here. Dyrus getting hit with a turret shot, and he's forced out as well. It looks like Azubu Frost is now in the re-engage. Could they get the grab onto one of them? Ezreal goes down. We see the chase onto Reginald here. Over the top, we switch over to that chase onto Xpecial. They're all going in the middle. A beautiful shock blast through the acceleration gate coming from Shy. They start to clean this one up. Xpecial trying to stay in front here. The movement speed just not enough for Overdrive. The grab onto the odd one. Xpecial goes down, and it looks like the odd one will lose his oracles here. The double kill coming out for Woong on the entire fight. Dyrus, the only one alive.
Now it's going to make it a 3-on-1 in the base. The inhibitor completely open. There is no way Dyrus stops this push. I don't think he has the damage to deal it. He's actually going to spam dance up in the back line at the base. Dax flying up in the air. No problem, Dyrus. And they're going to be in good shape here, taking down that inhibitor. And now Azubu Frost has the exact lineup they need to just push top lane over and over. It'll be very, very difficult for Solo Mid to deal with 2 inhibitors down. This is exactly the situation that Azubu Frost wants to be in.
You can just see how tanky they are now, Freak. Tanky, face tanking these turret shots. going through the match like they own the entire map right now. And even after that Baron, Team Solo Mid had a bit of trouble fighting them. There is just so much ability on Azubu Frost to kite out the cooldowns, and theirs are so low on most of the champions. You're going to see MF coming up hardcore with that blue buff on all of the attacks that she can get out. Double ups, one after the other, slows one after the other from her, and the entire team just synergizes with that. Blitzcrank is going to get those slows with grabs. Lux is going to be able to lock them up as well, and there's just so much crowd control they can continuously stack one on top of the other.
This will continuously really be great for Azubu Frost. They're going to take that 1 second and finally go back to the base and buy. You can see that right now. Everyone kind of spent a little bit of time recalling back. And I mean, I want to call it actually that Shy a while ago went for a mana manipulator. He bought that right after he was done with Bloodthirster, realizing that his team was going to be sitting there in a group together, and they would be spamming abilities for a good long time. There would be a lot of mana spent, and he wanted to make sure his team overall had the mana regeneration to withstand and sort of support that style of gameplay. So even though he's a sort of a carry here and would be spending his money on damage and durability, he stopped for 475, bought the mana manipulator just to set his team up for more of that kind of gameplay. I think it's the first time I've actually seen the item even purchased in competitive play in like a year. These guys buying slightly unconventional items because they know it works for the team.
They're actually 9,000 gold up right now. It's 10-10 with 8-1 turrets. The gold generation items have accrued about 1,600 gold in that for their 50,000 gold, and those turrets just huge at 8 right now. Only one turret has been taken down for TSM, and it's not the mid lane turret either. So for their focus to all be top is going to be quite tough for them. They do have position on Baron with that, but really they want to be able to get to that mid inhibitor turret, that closest lane, and start the pressure. This is quite far off for them. Even though they got Baron, they can't put the 4-minute pause button on, and Azubu Frost is still completely in their face. They're trying to take down this last inhibitor and the inhibitor turret. If they can do this, they'll be able to just walk around the outside. The Freak, they have minions coming in from middle. They have minions coming in from bottom. This turret may go down. The flash is being expended. The wall of pain shredding magic resistance, but those are the cooldowns that they were looking to blow. TSM waiting patiently to fight under the turret that they may not have in the next few seconds. The inhibitors are going to start respawning, but the minion waves do have super minions in them still that are coming out of the base. They are waiting for these to get in. We can see Shyvana and Kaox trying to take down those minions as they just pressure top. Here comes that final top wave. It looks like this turret will go down. Dyrus is going to put himself out front. A beautiful push off of that as they do not get another turret, rather. We do see one go down. It was that middle, or it was that top inhibitor turret. Thought it was for the other side of the map, but there's just too many minions and just enough poke to take it down for Azubu.
They're going to keep this pressure on. There's now no turret to keep Suleiman alive. They can still try to get some kind of initiation with an apprehend, but right now they don't have the positioning to do it. Frost would have simply walked back up towards that top side. The Baron respawning in the pretty near future. The timer on that 36:22, so in a minute and 20 seconds, Azubu Frost can simply walk back and get a free Baron. Solamid will not be able to easily leave their base right here. Wung almost getting caught out. That would have been the chance here for Solamid. If they had the flash, they could have apprehended Wung back in and tried to go for a fight there. Now the inhibitor once more under pressure, and Solamid not trying all that hard to defend it. Azubu Frost, they kind of should be happy to just keep the poke going. The one saving grace for Solamid is their fountain is right there. They can absolutely heal themselves back up. Frost wants to keep Solamid in their base and keep them scared and keep them back because they can pick up Baron in now 50 seconds.
The inhibitor should be spawning very, very soon here. Dyrus with the Guardian Angel. Shy with a Guardian Angel as well. A final wave coming in. It's just passing the river. The Shock Blast is out. They're just kind of throwing out abilities here, trying to get the poke damage in. We saw this was very effective for Invictus Gaming, or actually against Invictus Gaming, I should say. The PDD would always get taken down before the fight, and then the fight is initiated. That is what Azubu Frost is looking for. Looking for all this free damage. The Crescendo cleansed out on that one by the Quicksilver, I believe, and it looks like the fight will be huge. It's going to be all the damage going to Team Solo Mid. They have hardly any health, but they're still engaging. It looks like Azubu Frost is on their heels here, but they have quite a bit of HP still. They leave Shy alone, and TSM with a sliver of health is just able to outposition in the fight. Azubu Frost forced out of that one somehow.
And that was because they had some kind of initiation finally from Team Solo Mid. Their actual ability to fight in the late game is so strong. Kaox getting jumped on there on the turret, but Templar does not have the damage, nor does, looks like Rapidstar really have, actually he has the cooldowns. He could just put the burst onto Kaox. He's very, very low, but he's getting himself back up. There it is, he dodges it. They're going to be safe. but that is really the Team Solo Mid lineup. They have champions who can simply go into a fight they rarely have the ability to get into a fight, but when they do, they fight so very well. If they can bypass that poke. Now, before it was a flash into Wall of Pain from Carthage. This time, it was a flash crescendo from Xpecial on Sona. The Quicksilver Sash came out there from Woong, but it wasn't in time. Dyrus was able to flash and then apprehend him back in. Misfortune went down very, very quickly, and the fight was on. They traded 2 for 2 despite being down almost 10,000 gold because TSM, they've got a team fight lineup. They've got area of effect. They've got late game scaling. They've got all the tools for a phenomenal late game if they can make those fights happen.
8,500 gold and a lot of turrets separate these two teams. An entire side of the map separates these two teams as an uncontested Baron now underway. 38 minutes into the match. Team Solo Mid forced to stay. Guard these inhibitors. Their one Nexus turret was down to 150, actually 315 HP in that last fight. The Nexus turret's the only ones to regenerate health, but it's only had 300 health regen since that moment, so it's not fast. Azubu Frost is definitely faster with the aggression they've been putting on. Final Spark now down to a 24-second cooldown.
And that's really the gameplay that Azubu Frost wants to keep going, is these low cooldown, long-range abilities. That Nexus turret that's low on health, that's exactly the thing that Azubu Frost wants. They've even got better poke synergy now. They've got more regeneration, both on health and mana due to that Baron buff. They're going to run out of this bottom lane. They're going to set up another inhibitor kill, but they've got super minions to fight for them. You just saw that last fight go well for Solo Mid because they have team fight power. Well, Azubu Frost wants to ride minions as part of their team fight power. They want super minions in there to help deal the damage. And look at the poke. They can bring Dyrus to half. But again, here comes the initiation.
Coming out, the lay waste almost hits onto Shy, but it was going to be the true shot barrage for most of the damage. The poke still coming out, and we can see Reginald and Chaos still giving him a little bit of trouble. Shyvana obviously with Flame Breath, a little bit of damage there, but it is still harassment. They're trying to dodge that. Flashing right over the Shock Blast to try and catch them off guard. Shyvana's Dragon Descent will lead the charge. Vengeful Maelstrom down by Cloud Templar. The entire team is forced to walk out, and MF's ult is down here. I believe she just used that Quicksilver Sash as well to clear anything that was on her. So they're going into this fight headstrong onto Reginald. He goes down. Dyrus is half health coming into this fight. They do drop down Cloud Templar. The 1-for-1 now, but slivers of health all on the side of Team Solo Mid. Chaos grabbed into the fight. This is not looking good, and it replicates a final push that we've seen before. Team Solo Mid will drop game 1 to Azubu Frost at 40 minutes into the game.
Congratulations there to the Koreans, keeping the hope alive for their region. Team Solo Mid put up a very, very good fight. They definitely have the tools that it takes to pull this one into game 2. Azubu Frost really showing themselves the favorites that they are, putting out a very nice strategy there. It's a different take on the poke comp that we saw Dignitas run of the North American Regional. There it was Caitlyn and Needly, and a lot of long-range pressure there trying to chunk enemy champions down. It was something a bit similar here. They had Jace for it, they had Lux for it, they had Misfortune and Blitzcrank. Now the difficulty there was they didn't have Disengage. When you saw it run by Dignitas, they had like Alistar, Nunu, Gragas, things like that that pushed champions away, and Janna as well. In this case, though, it was actually them running more of an engagement-based thing. It was, we're going to land a bunch of damage from long range, then hope that we can run away either with Acceleration Gate or just with some crowd control here. You know, Maokai trying to slow people down to get themselves away from that fight. And we saw that actually burn them a little bit. Team Solo Mid got a few really, really good engagements in that game. It was only the fact that they were down so much gold by losing turrets in the mid game that they weren't able to carry those through. You saw the flash initiation from Reginald with the Wall of Pain. That one worked really, really well. You saw the flash initiate from Sona with Crescendo. That one only went 2 for 2, and the only reason it went that evenly, because it should have went to Solo Mid, was a 10,000 gold difference. That's really what kind of caused that dearth right there. So we're going to watch that last team fight with the audio from Azubu Frost.
Wow, you can see him high-fiving as they were still doing the last damage to the turret. That's just how strong they knew they solidified the win after that ace.
Yeah, as soon as that kill went down, they got that 5th one. They were like, yep, we've got this. Let's go ahead and set the attack move orders. And the high fives, the high tens, they're coming out. Congratulations. A very, very good game. And that was a really cool strategy. I've not seen something quite like that. Now, I do know they like the Lux pick. Of course, everyone here has been really liking Jace for that top lane. So, some of those pieces, could have been expected from this lineup. But the execution there was really, really strong. The Blitzcrank counter pick for the bottom lane really, really set them apart there. There were a couple of counter kicks from the odd one, but overall, Cloud Templar coming in with Mad Life in the room to make those fights at the bottom lane was great. The decisions to say, no, Cloud Templar, you're going to gank top until we get first blood, and then once you do it, it's fine, we're good, peace out, let it go. And Shy snowballed that advantage himself. That one-on-one matchup that TSM so desperately needed, Jace came out first. They had every option to counterpick for Dyrus and let him get back in there, and he started out equal, but Cloud Templar showed up first. Well, I wouldn't say he showed up first. Odd One did show up for a gank there with Exhaust, but Shy escaped that situation. And then once that had happened, Cloud Templar finally showed up. They got the first blood, support from Rapid Star, the laser coming across from the mid lane, and from there it was all over. Shy able to escape every single gank after that one, start his lane 3-0 over Dyrus, and with that amount of power, there was not a lot of options left over for TSM to win a fight like that. There was just simply too much pressure from Jace, too much pressure from the overall team. Zebu Frost played it perfectly.
They did a great job. They followed those keys to victory. And we'll be right back after these quick messages with Game 2 to see if Azubu Frost can dash the hopes of Team Solo Mid.